So then guys, huge breaking news. Apple has just announced the brand new Mac Studio, and this time we have the M5 Max and that brand new M5 Ultra inside too. And we've also got the brand new Mac Mini, what I've just made a video about. So if you want to hear about more information about the new Mac Mini, check out that other video too. But today I'm really interested to see what this new Mac Mini is going to bring us, and particularly with the M5 Ultra. Apple is making some absolutely enormous performance claims here. We're talking up to a 36-core CPU and an 80-core GPU and up to an unbelievable 512 gigabytes of unified RAM and 1.2 terabytes per second memory bandwidth. For AI, that is going to be unbelievable. But perhaps the biggest story is how much faster the M5 Ultra is compared to the M3 Ultra, particularly when we start looking all that like graphics and also that local AI performance. There is a catch though, and that is the price has gone up, and if you want the new M5 Ultra Mac Studio, it has gone up quite a lot. Now, the new Mac Studio is available to pre-order right now and officially arrives on September 22nd. So let's take a look at the new lineup with the prices, specifications, M5 Max versus M4 Max, and most importantly, exactly how much faster M5 Ultra, the ultimate chip out there, is compared to the M3 Ultra. The new Mac Studio lineup gives us two main choices, M5 Max and M5 Ultra. And although the Mac Studio itself might look familiar, internally these are significantly more powerful machines. But before performance, let's talk about price. The M5 Max Mac Studio starts at $2,499. The previous M4 Max Mac Studio originally started at $1,999, meaning we're looking at a $500 increase. M5 Ultra is a considerably bigger jump. M3 Ultra started at $3,999, while M5 Ultra starts at $5,499. That's a $1,500 increase just to get into an Ultra Max Studio. So there needs to be a pretty substantial performance improvement to justify it. Memory and storage have expanded too. M5 Max starts with 36 gigabytes of unified memory and can be configured with up to 128 gigabytes. M5 Ultra starts with 96 gigabytes and goes all the way up to an incredible 512 gigabytes, although Apple says that 512 gigabyte configuration arrives in late October. Storage starts at 512 gigabytes with M5 Max and 1 terabyte with M5 Ultra, with configurations going all the way up to 16 terabytes. Let's start with M5 Max. We're getting an 18-core CPU and up to a 40-core GPU with neural accelerators now built directly into every GPU core. According to Apple, the GPU can be up to 50% faster than the previous generation. Memory bandwidth has increased too, with M5 Max delivering up to 614 gigabytes per second. But some of the biggest differences are with AI. Compared with M4 Max, Apple says M5 Max can deliver up to 3.9 times faster LLM prompt processing inside LM Studio, up to 3.5 times faster text-to-image generation, up to 3 times faster Magic Mask performance inside DaVinci Resolve Studio, and up to 1.4 times faster scene rendering inside Max and Redshift. So M5 Max isn't simply about conventional CPU and GPU performance. AI compute is becoming a massive part of this generation. But M5 Ultra is where things get really interesting. At the top end, we're getting a 36-core CPU and an 80-core GPU. Apple has used its next-generation UltraFusion architecture to connect 4 dies together, creating the first quad-die Apple Silicon design. And then there's memory. M5 Ultra can have up to 512 gigabytes of unified memory with a staggering 1.2 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth. This is the Mac Studio designed for the really extreme workloads, from huge 3D scenes and visual effects to scientific computing and running enormous AI models locally. So let's compare M5 Ultra directly with M3 Ultra. According to Apple, M5 Ultra delivers up to 1.3 times higher multi-threaded CPU performance than M3 Ultra. That's approximately a 30% improvement, while maximum CPU core count increases from 32 cores to 36. Graphics is interesting because Apple reports different gains depending on the workload. Apple says M5 Ultra can deliver up to 1.8 times faster graphics in Mac Studio workloads, while its silicon-level comparison cites up to 40% faster graphics performance than M3 Ultra. And although both generations can have an 80-core GPU, M5 Ultra adds neural accelerators to every GPU core, alongside newer shader technology and third-generation ray tracing. So this isn't about simply adding more GPU cores. Apple has significantly changed what those cores can actually do. Memory bandwidth is another enormous upgrade. M3 Ultra gave us 819 gigabytes per second. M5 Ultra takes that to 1.2 terabytes per second. Apple describes that as 50% higher memory bandwidth than M3 Ultra. And this matters because the CPU and GPU can access the same unified memory pool. For enormous local AI models, complex 3D scenes, huge data sets, and high-resolution video workflows, you're giving the processors considerably more bandwidth to move all of that data around. But AI is where M5 Ultra really starts to separate itself. According to Apple, M5 Ultra offers up to 4.3 times the peak AI compute performance of M3 Ultra. And some of the actual application comparisons are even more interesting. In LM Studio, using M1 Ultra as the baseline, M3 Ultra reaches 2.4 times performance, M5 Ultra reaches 9.8 times. That translates into up to 4 times faster LLM prompt processing compared directly with M3 Ultra. Text-to-image generation jumps from 1.9 times the M1 Ultra baseline with M3 Ultra to 8.2 times with M5 Ultra. That's up to 4.3 times faster than M3 Ultra. These are enormous generational improvements, and that advantage continues into other professional applications. With machine learning training using Copycat inside Foundry Nuke, M3 Ultra reaches 4.6 times the M1 Ultra baseline. M5 Ultra reaches 15.4 times. That's around 3.3 times faster than M3 Ultra. Then we have Maxent Redshift. M3 Ultra reaches 2.8 times the M1 Ultra baseline, while M5 Ultra reaches 4.7 times. Then we have Maxent Redshift. M3 Ultra reaches 2.8 times the M1 Ultra baseline, while M5 Ultra reaches 4.7 times. That's up to 1.7 times faster scene rendering compared directly with M3 Ultra. So we're not talking about small 10 or 20% improvements here. Certain AI and professional workloads are literally multiple times faster. And this is where that 512 gigabytes of unified memory becomes particularly interesting. Unlike a conventional workstation where the GPU has its own separate pool of VRAM, Apple's GPU can access the unified memory pool. So an M5 Ultra configured with hundreds of gigabytes of memory can potentially run enormous AI models locally rather than relying entirely on cloud processing. It's also an absolute monster for video. According to Apple, M5 Ultra can simultaneously play back up to 33 streams of 8K ProRes 422 video at 30 frames per second, 33 streams of 8K video at the same time. For massive Final Cut Pro projects, multicam productions, and professional film workflows, that's an extraordinary amount of performance from one desktop. Storage has received a major upgrade too. Apple says the new SSD architecture can deliver up to twice the storage performance of the previous generation. Connectivity remains excellent as well. We have Thunderbolt 5 delivering up to 120 gigabits per second of bandwidth, alongside 10 gigabit Ethernet, HDMI, USB-A, an SDXC card slot, and the headphone jack. Wireless connectivity has also been upgraded to Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6, and M5 Ultra can support up to 8 displays. So this can become a seriously enormous workstation, despite the Mac Studio itself remaining relatively compact. So when you put everything together, the M5 Ultra versus M3 Ultra upgrade is pretty substantial. We're looking at up to 30% higher multi-threaded CPU performance, significantly stronger graphics depending on the workload, 50% more memory bandwidth, up to 4 times faster LLM prompt processing, up to 4.3 times faster text-to-image generation, and up to 3.3 times faster machine learning training. And maximum unified memory has increased all the way to 512 gigabytes. That's why M5 Ultra isn't really aimed at someone who simply wants a faster Mac. It's designed for people whose workloads can actually use this enormous amount of compute and memory. And that brings us to the big question: which Mac Studio actually makes sense? For most creators and professional users, M5 Max is already an incredibly powerful machine. An 18-core CPU, up to a 40-core GPU, up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and 614 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth gives you enormous performance for Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Photoshop, music production, coding, 3D work, and even substantial local AI workloads. M5 Ultra is for workloads where you know you need this level of performance. If you're working with enormous 8K projects, complex 3D rendering, machine learning training, massive data sets, or huge local AI models, that's where the additional CPU and GPU performance, 1.2 terabytes per second of memory bandwidth, and up to 512 gigabytes of unified memory really start making sense. So overall, there's absolutely no question that this is the most powerful Mac Studio Apple have ever created. It's the most powerful Mac they've ever created. The M5 Max improvements are impressive, particularly when you start looking at AI. And for the vast majority of professional Mac users, I think the M5 Max is already going to provide more performance than they actually need. But the M5 Ultra is really the star of the show for me. Going from M3 Ultra to M5 Ultra gives us some massive improvements, particularly when you look at the graphics, memory bandwidth, and local AI. And being able to configure a Mac with 512 gigabytes of unified memory is honestly still pretty crazy. But there is, like I said, one enormous question: is it still worth $5,499, and that's just the baseline model with not actually upgrading the cores, the RAM, the storage, or anything like that. And when you do push it up even further, yeah, it goes into quite some scary money. But costs that $1,500 more than the M3 Ultra though when it originally came out? Is it actually going to be worth it here for adding hundreds of gigabytes of unified memory and also the options of multiple terabytes of storage? This is going to be an extremely expensive computer going forward. Personally, I am really interested to see how the M5 Ultra performs in the real world, particularly to the M3 Ultra, because of some of Apple's huge AI claims that are going to be enormous here, and I definitely want to see how different those numbers are. But honestly, like I said, I personally don't even think M5 Ultra is even right for me. It is way too powerful. But let me know in the thoughts of what you'd like to see with the M5 Ultra. What do you think think it's going to perform like? And also at the same time as well, do you think Apple have pushed the starting out price now too far now for the M5 Max and also for the M5 Ultra? I'd love to know your thoughts. And on that note as well, guys, it's also time to wrap up the video too. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. Of course, if you want to hear the latest Apple reviews and comparisons, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I will see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.